In this lab video, we'll go over the basics of a technique known as titration. Before performing the action, we'll need to talk about priming or cleaning the burette, which is a piece of glassware used during this experiment, and then we'll go over what titration actually is. To start off, the burette needs to be primed in preparation for the experiment. To do so, it will first need to be rinsed with water 3 times. The next step involves rinsing it with the solution another 3 times. Once that step is completed, place a small amount of the solution in the burette and rotate to coat the inside. Repeat this step once more and then you're all set. Now this moves us on to what the titration technique is about. Titration, by definition, is a technique where a solution of known concentration is used to determine the concentration of an unknown solution. The titrant, in this case our base of known concentration, is added to a quantity of an analyte, which is our acid solution with an unknown concentration. The reaction between the titrant and the analyte will be complete once the equivalence point is reached and the solution turns a light pink color. This happens when the amount of acid equals the amount of base, and as it approaches this point, the color change happens rather suddenly, as demonstrated by the curvature of the graph. Now that we have some background on titration, let's see how it works. Before releasing the titrant from the burette, a few drops of phenolphthalein were added to the flask containing the analyte to act as an indicator. This substance goes from colorless to pink in the pH range of 8.3 to 10.0. As the titrant is being transferred from the burette, the flask containing the analyte should be swirled to help ensure thorough mixing. This process does take a little longer to reach the equivalence point, but you'll need to keep an eye out for the color change, and keep in mind the curve of the graph as an indication leading up to that point. Once the equivalence point is reached, the solution becomes a light pink color as seen here. At this point, you're all finished with the titration technique and can start determining the concentration. Let's take a look at the process again. Don't forget to keep track of all the data in your notebook, such as the initial and final volumes, to determine the volume delivered during the titration. This will be necessary in determining the concentration of the solution.